Well, welcome to this week's edition of the Don't Argue. All thanks to Palmer and Gids. I have to apologise, mate.
You just got a bit of a trim, mate. Short back and sides, have you?
Mate,
Nice one for the show.
sides. I've gone the Dusty Martin cut. The NRL people will probably go, "Who the hell's Dusty Martin?" But
Mate, can I get a look at the side and the back?
yes, mate. Yeah. All I need is the
Holy
neck tattoo,
turly.
big fella. The neck tat's just to finish it off. But I lost a bet on the AFL version of Palmer Bets, the Don't Argue, mate. And yeah, that's
Stuck to it, mate. Well done.
Kids, I'm a man of my
Yeah,
word. So
you are, mate.
yeah,
Well done. Looks great.
mate, how was your weekend, big fella? All good? I saw you on the Matty John show, mate. Absolutely
Yeah.
sensational. Two kids.
Nah, mate. He had a great weekend, mate. I had the birthday on Friday, so had the day off work, had the extra long weekend, and mate, yeah, finished it off with the Matty John show on Sunday night on Fox. So myself and Mark Hughes going into the Beanie for Brain Cancer round this week.
Yeah.
So a big week for certainly the foundation, but all the players, all the fans and supporters get on board. So that was really highlighting the kickstart of the Beanie for Brain Cancer round for the Mark Hughes Foundation this week.
Can you send some beanies down my way?
Mate,
Because I am going to need them.
you need a couple of beanies on that thing.
Isn't it horrific? Absolutely shocking. Hey, yeah, happy birthday too, big fella, for Friday,
Thanks,
mate.
mate.
You're an absolute star, and you picked up that show. Like, mate, seriously, if Hindy or any of the boys just have to just take off or whatever, I reckon you'd slot in beautiful. Just,
I'd say it's good fun. It's good fun. It's pretty relaxed pre-show. I know that much.
Good on you, mate. Hey, listen, let's have a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly from last weekend, kids. And, well, the good, we're going to start with the Dogs because the Bulldogs have turned their form right around. It's in full effect with a great win against the Eels, of course, on Monday. Currently sit 8th on the ladder. Currently $2.10 to make the finals. Can they do it, kids? And fair dinkum, I thought they were gone, to be honest, on Monday. I thought, oh, no, they've had a good crack.
Yeah.
They're gone, but they just never give up, do they?
Oh, mate, I thought they were going too. I thought the first half the Eels were not all over it, but I thought they were playing some pretty good footy with Mitch Moses. Had a great game the week before and looked like he was going to continue that on this week. Gutho's 200th game was another big milestone. So, yeah, the momentum, they were able to swing it back. I think they're the second best defensive team in the competition, the Bulldogs are, statistically. So they're maintaining that great defence, that real belief and resilience defensively. And, yeah, they were able to swing that momentum back. I think they had two guys concussed early, a broken ankle, and Kurt Mann in the sin bin. So it was a huge effort considering those four moments during the game that it could have turned against them for sure.
No, I love what they're doing at the moment, the Canterbury Bulldogs, and full credit to them. And as I just said, $2.10 to make the finals now, and they are in good nick. Hey, the bad Queensland teams all failed to fire at home. Titans, Cowboys, Broncos all lost at home on Saturday. Who was the most disappointing for you, Gids?
I think the Broncos, mate, they're just slipping down the ladder pretty quickly, aren't they? In 8th position at the moment. And
I'm a little bit worried about the Bronx, to be honest, Gids. I just don't know. I don't know where they're at the moment. Then obviously Reece Walsh with the concussion and stuff. It's going to be interesting.
Well, yeah, they've normally always got a fair few blokes, mate, playing for Queensland at this time of the year for the obvious reasons. But yeah, they're slipping down the ladder pretty rapidly at the moment, so they'd be pretty worried. I don't know if, morale will be super high at the moment for the Broncos because they're in 8th position at the moment and equal with on 16 points with the Dragons who are in 9th. So, another loss, they'll be out of the 8th. I think they're the most disappointing loss for the Queensland teams on the weekend.
I just hope that they can bounce back, kids, because I reckon their best is certainly good enough. So it's a long season, we know that, and I just want to see them up there contending. Hey, the ugly, the West Tigers, mate, put up one of their worst performances of the season. They were leading 14-12 at halftime, then they let 44 straight points in the second half to lose 56-14. Where are they at, the Tigers, mate?
Well, they're in all sorts, to be honest. Yeah, that's a poor second half, really poor second half to be in the game, leading going into half time. I think the Dragons had a similar scenario there the other week as well and got pumped in the second half. You just wonder where their heads at when they come out from an attitude point of view for the second half. So you're in the game, you're in front, you're in the arm wrestle and the battle, and to lose or have 44 points straight scored against you in the second half. There's some real soul searching back in the sheds and at the video session early this week. So, yeah, they're in all sorts. I've seen Benji's press conference, and he's frustrated with the amount of errors with the ball and certainly penalties from some of his more senior players. So he said he's going to have to start dropping blokes if they don't turn it around. So, but who do you bring in? That's the other part.
Yeah,
Really tough time for him.
I don't think they've got a lot of depth, kids, have they?
No, no. And mate, it's just there's so much commentary around the Tigers around where they're playing their games and too many home grounds in Leichhardt and Core and Tamworth, and it's just instability, isn't there, with
Yeah.
the club?
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. You got to feel for Benji and the probably more importantly the supporter base. I reckon West Tigers they kind of stick fat, but they'll be wearing a bit thin. I'm tipping Gids because they've had a bad couple of seasons, haven't they?
For sure, mate. And I love like one of their past players, Blocker. I've spent a fair bit of time with Blocker over the years, and Ciro, and mate, they just wear the Tigers brand, Balmain, with their heart on their sleeve. So they're champion fellas and passionate about their club, and they just, I can just it tears their heart out, mate, when they're going through these times.
Spot on, mate. Hey, listen, let's have a look at our tips from last week, kids. Both 5 out of 7. So I still can't kind of put it
Yeah.
back, to be honest. So you missed out on the Broncos and the Eels. I missed out on the Titans and the Broncos. So yeah, Rabbitohs get the job done, and the Bulldogs obviously defeating the Eels, mate. So we not too 5 out of 7, mate. That's a big tick from my
Yep.
perspective.
Mate, I think so. And I think, mate, again, there's a genuine upset every week at the moment, isn't there? So you just got to be brave enough to pick which game it's going to be. But if you're putting your tips in, you got to pick two upsets.
Yeah.
Which ones are they going to be though?
That's the
That's the
problem.
hard part.
That is the problem. Hey, the kids get on last week. Eels to win under 46.5 points. Mako Siva, who didn't play. Mitch Moses, anytime try scorer. You got the under 46.5, mate. Just didn't quite get the Eels, big fella, and they were close. Don't worry about that. Sivo's a push there.
Michael would have got over surely if he played.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mitch Moses, he didn't score neither. So still struggling for the gid to get on, mate, this year. Still searching, but mate, still happy with my consistency of the weekly tips. 5 from 7 again.
Nah, mate, that is a massive tick. Don't worry. And well, I was nowhere near it last week, kids. Broncos 13 plus, and well, poor old Reece Walsh after Origin, he was no chance
Yeah,
scoring 2
no
plus
chance.
tries. So yeah, nah, no good there at all. But we'll bounce back this week, kids, and we'll bounce back in a big
Certainly
way.
will.
Let's have a look Thursday night footy. It's the Sharks v the Dolphins. 750 at Shark Park. Head to head, the Sharks $1.34. Dolphins at 325 at the line. The Sharks minus $9.5, Dolphins plus $9.5 $1.90. Key talking points here, all thanks to Palmer. The Sharks. That was a huge win against the Broncos last week. They're looking to build on their momentum going forward. The Dolphins coming off the bye, they'll be looking to secure their spot and lock into that top 4 and that top 8 on the NRL ladder. I must admit, kids, I reckon the Dolphins are a ridiculous price. They've done nothing wrong.
Yeah, 325, mate. They're sitting fourth position at the moment. So, yeah, just obviously not a great deal of confidence, mate, for the Dolphins for this one. I think it's going to be a pretty fair game. I mean, the Hammer, mate, has been in outstanding form. He had a great game at Origin again there the other night.
He did.
And, mate, playing, you don't stick into the top 4 at this time of the year if you're not playing consistently, defending well, and really believing in the game plan. So, could be a cracking game. I did like the way Braden Trindle played there last week with Nico Hines in the team. I thought he just took a bit more control and, shaping up as a good one. I think I'm going to go with the Sharks, mate, at home, Shark Park.
They're hard to beat at Shark Park, but geez, I reckon the Dolphins are good value at 325 for a team that has done nothing wrong all year. They just keep defying the odds. Yeah, and I reckon my best bet of the weekend, my Matty's must-have will come back to Thursday night footy. 2 kids start the weekend on a high.
Okay.
Just preempting. Hey, Raiders,
Nice
Cowboys.
one.
Friday, 6 p.m. at GIO Stadium. Head-to-head Raiders, $1.70. Cowboys at $2.15 at the line. The Raiders minus $2.5, $1.90. Cowboys plus $2.5, $1.90. Key talking points for the Raiders, obviously coming off a bye, kids. Cowboys, they're looking to bounce back after a poor effort at home against the Warriors last weekend. I must admit, I reckon the Warriors aren't a bad side, though. They're coming good at the right time of the year. So, Mark, you got this one right too, kids? Raiders, shorty?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I do. I like what the Raiders have been doing, mate. They've been flying under the radar for the whole
Oh yeah,
half of the year. Really, we're at this stage at the moment. So, and they're always tough to beat down at Canberra.
going to be cold and wet
Just made
too.
that, yeah. But geez, like the Cowboys are just again another week of inconsistency, and on the back of a fair towel up, 42 points scored against, just defensively not good enough. So yeah, week on, week off for the Cowboys at the moment. Hard one to tip long term. So definitely Cowboys, mate. I think it'll be a convincing one again for the Cows. For the Raiders, sorry.
Raiders, mate. Gee
Yeah,
whiz. Hang on. I was going to say, hang on. I'm Raiders too, mate. All over the Raiders. And I reckon
Raiders.
convincingly down in Canberra, really cold. Cowboys not used to those
13
conditions.
plus.
They're going to hate it. 13 plus for mine. Hey, Rabbitohs taking on the Broncos Friday, 8 p.m. at Core Stadium. All of a sudden, this game's got a bit of interest in it too. Rabbitohs at 2.38, Broncos $1.58 at the line. The Rabbits plus $4.5, $1.83. Broncos minus $4.5, $1.98. Key talking points, obviously, the Rabbitohs back on track against the Titans with a huge win on the road last week. The Broncos let down by poor second half performance after leading 12-4 at halftime with 18 unanswered points. Will they steal up, mate? Will they fire up the Bronx and bounce back this weekend, Gids?
Well, mate, I'll get to my Gids get on a little bit later in the show, but I'm going with a few upsets this week. And like I spoke
Wow.
about early in the program, mate, there's two definite general upsets every week. And I'm going to jump on the bunnies here. I just think, mate, Latrell had a good game there last week. I've liked Jack Whiten moving from the centres into 5'8" full time next to Cody Walker. I think that gives Cody some confidence. I like Jack because he's a real competitor. So he's a good runner of the footy. He's got some aggression in his game. He's obviously experienced. So I like that spine at the moment with Cookie there as well. So I think this could be an upset, and I'm going to go the Bunnies head to head.
Gee whiz, mate. I'm sticking with me Broncos. Been on them all year.
Well,
And I'm sticking fat, mate. And I reckon it'll be tight. It'll be a 1-12 kind of margin, but they'll get the job done. They'll bounce back, kids.
well, mate, I think Latrell. Look, from an Origin perspective, I think you'd be picking him to replace Suoliti, who's going to be out suspended for New South Wales. Big body, experienced, got some aggression in his game, knows what Origin's about. So I think he's going to play well in this cup game.
Love it, mate. It'll be a ripping game, I reckon. Friday night footy at its absolute finest. Then we go Saturday, Leichhardt Oval. It's the Tigers taking on the Titans head-to-head. Tigers 2.30. Titans at $1.62 at the line. Tigers plus $3.5, $1.95. Titans minus $3.5, $1.85. Key talking points, Tigers, the less said, the better about last week's effort against the Dragons. And for the Titans, they were also disappointing against the Bunnies, going down 46-12 at home. I'm calling it early here, kids. I reckon Titans bet of the round. I reckon they'll get the job done.
Bet of the round.
Don't
know what don't know what the Tigers are going to toss up. I mean, there was a poor loss last week. They've come under more criticism post game and then during the week. So I'd expect the Titans to get up here for sure. Titans were disappointing, mate, last week. There's no doubt about that against the Bunnies. But I'll get on the Titans, mate, head to head for this one.
And maybe the Bunnies are going a little bit better than we think too, kids, so the form might frank a little bit, if the Titans come out and have a good win. That's the way I'm looking at it. Righto, Warriors Storm. Now, this is an interesting game as well. This is going to be an absolute cracker. Saturday, 5:30 at Go Media Stadium. Head-to-head Warriors $1.98. Storm $1.82 at the line. The Warriors plus 0.5, $1.95. Storm minus 0.5, $1.85. Key talking points here. The Warriors' huge win against the Cowboys on their home deck to get things back on track. And the Storm held off a Spirited Knights outfit, but it's not an easy road trip between these two teams. What are you thinking here, Gids? Storm, they were good in patches last week. They've still got some quality players out, haven't they?
Yeah, they've still got a few quality players out. I'm just looking back over the last few weeks, and I know they've had a few points scored against them, which is unstorm-like, and beaten by Manly a couple of weeks ago. Then they had to bye. Then, a lot of points scored against them from the Newcastle Knights last week, who couldn't score a point against the Bulldogs the week before. I thought the Knights' shape was a lot better, but I think it's going to be a tough game. I reckon it's a tough gig, this one, for the Storm to go over the Warriors. I know the Warriors, they've certainly got up for big games like this against the Storm previously, down in Melbourne and certainly over at Go Media Stadium. So, mate, this is going to be another one of my upsets. I think the the Warriors. Good win last week. Got them back on track, and big crowd will turn out to see the Storm players come to New Zealand. And I'm going for an upset here. I'm going for an upset. Warriors.
I'm actually with you, mate. Believe it or not, I actually reckon the Warriors will get the job done on their home deck. In saying that, I reckon the Warriors have been better away from home this year, Gids, for some reason, which is so.
Yeah, there's almost been a lot of expectation made on the Warriors this year because of the sold out stadiums and finished the way they finished off the back end of last year, but that hasn't transpired into wins at home. Over at Go Media Stadium. But I still think big game this weekend. I think the Wales will be right up for it. And I'm tipping the Wales for this one.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. So I don't tip against the Storm very often, but I just reckon the Warriors building at the right time of the season, mate. And I get nervous when I see that red pen kind of get raised, big fella. Yeah, I get edgy, to be honest.
It won't be long till it's out full time, won't it?
You've already put
just after Origin. Just after Origin.
Righto, mate. Let's move along. Eels v Roosters, Saturday, 7:35 at CommBank Stadium. Head-to-head, the Eels $2.56. Roosters $1.51. At the line, the Eels plus $6.5, $1.83. Roosters minus $6.5, $1.98. For the Eels, it was a tough loss to the Bulldogs after a promising return for their superstars. The Roosters coming off the bye, and they were a loss heading into the bye too, kids. So they're going to be pumped up and raring to go, you would imagine, to get back on the winner's circle against the Eels on the weekend.
Yeah, for sure, mate. It's a disappointing loss for the Eels, that one on the weekend, to be out in front. I think they were out by 8 points at that stage and had a fair bit of momentum, but they're pretty disappointed at the back end of the game, the way they just let the Dogs take over and finish that one off more professionally, I think. And again, the Roosters have been in the headlines with Brandon Smith this week and missing a mid-year review session, which he's had a breach notice for. So they're not the type of headlines you want, from one of your players who isn't living up to the standards of the club. So big game. I still think they make the Roosters for this one for sure. Just looking at the team list there, I think it's going to be a tight one. You look at Mitchell Moses is up for an Origin jersey, and I think he'll get it to be starting half for New South Wales in the next Origin. Luke Keary is obviously part of the camp for game one in that extended bench. So, whoever plays well in this game, they could be fighting for the half spot for New South Wales. It's a big game for both clubs. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to go the Roosters, mate.
Righto, mate. I'm going Roosters too to bounce back and bounce back in a big way. Manly taking on the St. George Illawarra Dragons on Sunday, 2 p.m. at 4 Pines Park. Manly $1.48, Dragons at $2.65. All thanks to Palmerbet. At the line, the Seagulls minus $6.5, $1.96. Dragons plus $6.5, $1.85. Key talking points here for Manly. They gave up a lead to the Premiers and went down 32-22. And the Dragons coming off a huge win against a pretty awful Tigers team, 56-14 last week. Dare we say it, mate? Are we tipping the Dragons? When we tip the Dragons, we kind of sometimes put the kiss of death on them, but they did salute last week and we were both on, Gids. Can they cause a little upset here and knock off a pretty good side in Manly?
Well, they can. I mean, yeah, the Eagles are sitting in 11th spot at the moment. And again, mate, we've seen some great footy from Manly this year and footy that should be a top 4 team. But again, they've had some patchy games and inconsistencies and, they've had some injuries like all clubs do. So that's not an excuse because most clubs have got some key players out. But disappointing for them to be sitting in 11th, that's for sure. And the Dragons, they're coming off the back of a cracking win. So I think they'll go into this game really confident. I've got the Eagles. I've got the Eagles head-to-head, and I'll stick with them at this stage, only because we just haven't seen enough consistency from the Dragons week in, week out to knock this one over.
And I reckon
it could be up for it. I don't know.
The home ground advantage. We're going to know a hell of a lot more about these teams. Yeah, I reckon that the home ground for Manly, I reckon it goes a long way, doesn't it?
It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid at 4 Pines Park. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And mate, I think we spoke about when the Dragons play at Wynn Stadium. Yes, they love it down there. It's a different crowd, different atmosphere, and they just live for that stadium as well. So, yep, can the Eagles continue the 4 Pines Park momentum? We'll wait and see. I'm going to tip the Eagles though.
Yeah, I'm going Manly as well, but I was tossing and turning in that game. That was one that
Mm.
I don't know. Good value at 265 if you are a Dragon supporter like our man Kyle. Hey, final game, Knights v Panthers, Sunday 4:05, McDonald Jones Stadium. It'll be a sellout again, head-to-head, Knights 390. Panthers at $1.26 at the line. The Knights plus $11.5.91. Panthers minus $11.5.89. Key talking points, Knights, good effort on the road against the Storm. Good efforts don't come away though sometimes with victories, do they, Gids? So you want to see that W next to the name. And the
That's it.
Panthers, even without plenty of star power, the Panthers were too good for Manly, 32-22 last week. They're just workmanlike, aren't they, Penrith?
Oh, mate, it doesn't matter who fills in, Matty. That's the thing. So, yep, it's like a conveyor belt of talent that comes through. Luke, Nathan Cleary is out injured. Someone steps in, does the role while he's out injured. But, great forward back and tough who know their role and put pressure on defensively, and outside backs who are strong and aggressive in their carries. And Dylan Edwards, I think, has been named to return this week. I think it's quick turnaround for a quad strain, but he'll obviously
Yeah.
want to play this game to get back into Origin and play fullback for his, to make up for the first game he was meant to debut. Mate, this is going to be one of my third upsets here.
Well,
And
third, you only said two before.
third update, third upset, mate. I liked the Knights' attack last week. Like, I thought it was poor against the Dogs the week before. They stripped Melbourne a number of times in the first half and didn't ice the last pass. And I thought they showed some real resilience in their defence, certainly when Melbourne had them, I think, up to 24 tackles on their line in the first half. And, mate, they took the Panthers to Golden Point last year at McDonald Jones Stadium. I think they were one of the only teams to draw with Melbourne at the 80th minute, and Nathan Cleary kicked the penalty goal and then kicked a field goal to win the game. So I think they'll take some belief out of that last year and some really good shape they had last week against the Storm. I love the way, mate, Dane Gagai, great experienced player, competitive. Every effort that Gags does is just 100% and does with some total effort and some aggression. I love his game.
Mate,
Fletcher Sharp on his debut too. He was impressive, young Fletcher.
you've been
Made his
doing a little
debut
bit.
against the Melbourne
You've been
Storm.
doing a little bit with
Cessnock
the two
boy.
kids. Is that right?
Yeah. Been doing a little bit with Fletcher for the last few years. Yeah, he's come through the pathways at Newcastle Knights. Cessnock boy, which is Joey and Matty Gids territory. So local Coalfields boy has come through the Knights junior system and been Jersey Fleet player of the last couple of years, and thought he played pretty well last week for his first game. So he'll gain some confidence from that.
So you're attacking, you're thinking that you like the attack last week from the Knights coming up against the best defensive team in the competition at the moment.
Yes.
Has been for the last 3 years, to be honest, kids, haven't they?
Yeah, and look, I think we mentioned the Dogs' defence, how much it's improved this year, and they're second on the ladder defensively behind the Panthers. So if you're going to beat the Panthers, you need to be able to hold your gloves up and defend well, and probably try and think out of the box a little bit in regards to how you're going to score points, because they just work so hard. So I'd be thinking just kicking a little bit behind. And in your first shape, get some nice big shape out of the outside, everyone lined up, and kick him behind early.
Love it, kids. That is
Ambush.
the coaching kids. Righto, pick 8. All thanks to Palmerbet, mate. What do you got for us, and what odds?
Okay, mate. Well, can you punch in the odds, mate? I haven't done
me. Of course I can.
This is how easy it is. Get up the Palmerbet app for me, mate.
Go for it, brother.
Okay, mate. Sharks.
Yes.
Warriors. Roosters.
Oh, hang on. We've missed
the Eagles.
Canberra and North Queensland. I'll read it.
Okay. Yep.
You've gone Raiders. You've gone Rabbitohs.
Yes, Rabbitohs. Titans.
Warriors. Roosters.
Manly.
And Newcastle.
Nice. That's it.
That is going to get you $143.50.
Holy.
3 roughies for the weekend, mate.
Yeah, that's difference.
That is next level. I'm going the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Broncos, the Titans, the Warriors, the Roosters, Manly, and Penrith. $75 for me, Gids.
Okay.
This week, pick 8. I'm catching you. I'm just starting to just make a little bit of inroads too in the tipping as well.
No chance.
Now, what about the Gids get on, mate? What do we got?
Mate, the kids get on. I'm just going to grab 3 of those upsets, mate. They're 3 of my favourites, actually, for this week's tips. Rabbitohs, Raiders, and Knights, $15.
Beautiful. Love
just
it.
A little 3-leg multi.
3 little outsider, mate. Well, I'm going.
Yep.
I'm going. Matty's must have. I'm going the Dolphins, and this is how easy it is. I'm going the Dolphins Thursday night footy, right? To defeat Cronulla Sharks. 325 is a ridiculous score. And any time try scorer, I want to score 2 or more tries. The Hammer, who's in great nick at the moment.
Yeah, he's in great form.
Hammer, to be honest. And then going to get you. I've just got to delete these little multis. I'm just putting them in the bin, the sin bin. And then I'll get my little same game multi up here. Gids, that will get me $10.72, Gids. For the Hammer to
72, okay.
And just head to head, Dolphins to win. And if the Dolphins are going to win, the Hammer's going to score a couple. So it's as simple as that. Isn't he?
Yeah, mate. Well, he's always somewhere, the Hammer. You know, he's sniffing around on any line break. He's sharp himself, so he can make his own line breaks, and he's talented. He's getting more experienced as the games go on, and can read the game well. So he's a real danger for any team, whether he's playing for the Dolphins or Queensland. So he's in good form.
Hey, kids, download the Palmerbet app, mate. Get involved. It is really, really simple. And as we always say, gamble responsibly and think about what you're really gambling with. Now, mate, even with this crappy haircut, you still want to do the Punters Club with me, mate? We're going to still have a bit of fun with the Punters Club in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. When's that dropping?
And we're going to let Betty
Palmerbet Punters Club.
We're going to let the polar bear in, mate, as well as he. He's allowed in that
he's
group.
A punish. He's a punish, the polar bear. I tell you what, he's got a bit of ammo the next time we roll around for Origin game 2, hasn't he?
He's actually been quiet on the text too. He hasn't said anything.
Yeah, I know.
He's sitting on his rest of his laurels. He's not saying too much at all.
I'll keep this zipped up at the moment.
Yeah, you put the red marker out too. Hey, kids, fantastic weekend of NRL, mate. It's going to be an absolute ripper. Some cracking games for mine. I reckon we're going to know a hell of a lot more, after this weekend's round of NRL, aren't we, mate?
For sure, Matty. There's it's this Origin period, isn't it? We spoke about teams losing players because of Origin selection. There's been some major injuries that guys are out for long term or the year. So it's a real uncertain period of this stage of the year. It's the middle part of the comp we've spoken about, and again, some genuine upsets on the cards where teams can leapfrog a few on the ladder, mate. So exciting times, that's for sure, Matty.
Hey, mate, and give your little Mark Hughes Foundation a plug again for the weekend, Gids.
Yes, Mark Hughes Foundation beanies, 2 beanies available at selected IGAs, all Lowe's stores Australia, and on the Mark Hughes Foundation website. You can jump on, order them, and the volunteers send them straight out.
Brilliant, mate.
Grab your beanie.
Love your work, buddy, and I can't wait to talk next week, Gids, and go the Knights.
Up the Knights.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.